A few recent exhibitions. I know many of you did get to come see the Ocoee exhibition. Again, this is a several-time national award-winning exhibition. It was covered in the Washington Post, Smithsonian Magazine, Atlas Obscura, over 500 million media impressions, and people are breaking down our doors to access this content. We do not have enough time to actually get it to everybody. And so I'll talk about a project we have coming up here in a moment. But this was a really incredible exhibition. It saw our normal attendance during a pandemic, which I think says something about what it would have been had we not been really kind of at a high point. Though it's sort of been up and down. I think it's just really important how eager people were to engage with this content, and really just very different for our exhibition. Something that was unique about this, we've had a lot of new chances in the past 5 years to really engage sort of boots on the ground with our community in preserving their history through our initiatives with Pulse. But this time we actually connected with and talked to over 77 descendants of people who were impacted by the massacre in 1920, 100 years ago. The couple, the father and daughter in the middle, they didn't actually know that the Ocoee massacre was part of their family tree, part of their story until they met us. The woman in the upper left is 93 or 95 years old. She came here from Jacksonville during a pandemic to see this exhibition because that's how important understanding her family's history and the legacies that it leaves really, really were to her. This really was an incredible exhibition, and it's one that will live on, and I'll talk more about that. Our 5-year remembrance of the Pulse nightclub tragedy. You all know we've done an exhibition each year, and again, thank you all for coming out so often to see our exhibits. This exhibit, opening month, saw the highest attendance, monthly attendance we have seen since we opened the first-year Remembrance exhibition. The highest since June of 2017. It tells you that this community is still really eager to be able to reconnect with this content, to be able to see their own history on the walls, and to sort of see the impact and the change throughout our community. And it was a really beautiful exhibition, and we really, we always have private previews and events for families, first responders, survivors, and make it very accessible to anybody that we can. And so we were honored to be able to do that again this year. This exhibition had 1.2 billion media impressions nationally and globally.
Good morning to you all. We got a quick update for you today. As usual, I'll cover through our COVID-19 current statistics, followed by Diane Arnold, who will give you a brief update on the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. Darren Gray will follow with our employee vaccination efforts from Human Resources perspective. So moving forward into our statistics, you see there just slightly under 232,000 cumulative cases in Orange County as of today. That includes 2,165 deaths. The great news, as we know, we continue to trend downward in our positivity rate. Our current 14-day positivity rate is at 3.61%. Vaccination and testing, as always, it continues to be a priority for us. We have now reached the threshold of 75% of our eligible population in Orange County has received at least one dose of the vaccine. We are offering all three, the Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson vaccines at Barnett Park. That includes the first, second dose, and boosters for all three of those vaccinations. Our COVID testing continues at Barnett Park and Econ Soccer Complex through the week. We will sunset the Econ Soccer Complex this Sunday. Will be the last day at Econ. We'll transition back to the single site of Barnett. The reduction in the demand of testing right now is certainly something we know we can go back to handling as we once did solely through the Barnett sites.
Thank you again, Mayor, Commissioners. Good afternoon. The next item is SE 21039. This is both a board called an appeal public hearing for Orlando Speed World. This is the A2 zoning district. The future land use is R, rural. The address is 19164 East Colonial Drive, west of East Colonial. You'll see in a location map in a minute. The tract size is 112.7 acres. This is in District 5. The Commissioner has been briefed on this project. The request is an amendment to an existing special exception for an existing racetrack to allow for a revised site plan that includes additional associated accessory structures. The location is just south and west of East Colonial and just east of County Road 13. The zoning is A2, surrounded by A2 except to the north and northwest, which is RT2. And with discussion with the commissioner, a proposed modified condition of approval for condition number 8 is in front of you. Hours of operation for all racetrack operations, including special seasonal racing events, shall be as follows: Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 5 p.m. to midnight Friday, noon to midnight Saturday, and 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday. The requested action in front of you includes denial of the applicant's request or approve the applicant's request with conditions. And thank you for that. I'll entertain any questions.
I do have one procedural question that I feel like would be best directed to the county attorney's office. I don't know if we want to do that now or after I present.
You can present and then we'll come back.
Okay. So the racetrack has been operating since the 1960s. Ozzy and Maria Moria are here today, and they officially purchased the company and the property about 3 years ago. They leased it for a few years before that. And staff has done an excellent job presenting the details of the application and including all of the necessary information in their report. As Mr. Kozak mentioned, we're here to amend the special exception that's currently in place in order to allow for 4 additional improvements: a bathroom facility, a storage facility, and 2 paved areas, all with the goal of improving the property and making it a better venue for participants and attendees to the track. The application meets all of the Orange County 6 standards for special exceptions as stated by staff, and we believe that the application should be approved in accordance with staff's recommendation of approval. The only item that applicant does not agree with is condition number 8, limiting the hours of operation for this property. This is because the condition limiting the hours of operation is not reasonably related to the uses requested by this application. This application requests, like I said, a bathroom facility, a storage facility, and 2 paved areas. These 4 improvements have no relation to the hours that Orlando Speed World is open and operating. The applicant understands that there have been complaints through this process about noise emitted by the track.
If you want to yield to the lady, we'll allow you to do that.
I live approximately 1 mile from Speed World. I'm here today to ask that commissioners and mayor uphold the condition regarding the hours of operation set by the BZA and outlined in their recommendation. Additionally, I'm requesting that the approval of the additional drift practice track be approved only on the condition that some type of barrier is installed for the smoke that's created by this practice track that's being used. Since changing ownership, Speed World has continued to show disregard for their neighboring community by running late into the night and by hosting drift events that create thick smoke that drifts into our community. Although they contend that they are committed to being good neighbors, they have not shown any behavior to indicate that they will do so. Although the track has been in existence since 1960, and we all did choose to live there, where a track is adjacent to our community, it doesn't negate the fact that Orange County zoned these areas as residential and let us move in there. So we did choose to live there, but it doesn't mean that we are not deserving of a healthy environment, which includes not having to listen to racetracks go on until past 1 o'clock in the morning, sometimes, including weekdays.
The owners of the track have done what they can to consider these complaints and try to fix them. They've increased the buffers only recently with the environmental buffers. There's a fence that goes along the entire west property line with a ditch, and then they've added trees and environmental buffers, not only to block noise, but to block any possible smoke.
No, you have to withdraw your request before the board makes its decision this afternoon or pronounces its decision this afternoon. You can't withdraw your application after the board votes on this issue.
Okay.
So give us a heads up if you're asking to withdraw your application before there's a vote this afternoon.
I would like to answer any questions that the board may have. I just do want to reiterate that not only is it a prohibited exaction, if a court would determine that this is a prohibited exaction, if the hours of operation condition is imposed because it is not reasonably related to the 4 uses that are being requested.
And for stock car races on Friday nights, so those are the official hours of operation of the Board of County Commissioners going back. So just for the applicant's information,
Okay,
that's all the board's approved in terms of hours of operation. I know it's kind of morphed off from there, but that's the last word from the board was from 50 years ago, and those hours of operations are pretty restrictive.
Okay, I was going to come back to that, but since she's on her rebuttal time, if you are concluding your rebuttal comments, then we're going to move forward in terms of the process today.
Were those hours of, I'm sorry,
Okay.
just a quick question.
I don't want to really get into questioning the county attorney, going back and forward. All of that should have been done before today.
And put their hand on their windows, and their windows are shaking. So they're violating the current rules as it stands. Is that correct?
Well, they certainly, if the noise ordinance is applicable during the hours they're open, so then presumably the violation is, if they're outside of hours either as represented or asserted over time, then that is correct. And as the applicant is also requesting, is no restrictions that could presume that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they could be exempt from the noise ordinance.
So the applicant is asking us to not use our restrictions for them and saying it's not feasible because they're not what they're building, but now they're asking us to not put any restrictions when there's already restrictions. So they're actually asking us to give it to them, but only the way they want it, not the way the rules state.
Essentially,
Layman's term.
that this is why all this information has been provided for you to assess, because initially, if we wanted to be the strictest sense is 7 to 10 p.m. On a one weekend night. However, that was never placed as a condition, so that's why that's why we're here now.
And so, and because it's only related, the noise exemption, to the vehicles on the track, can't law enforcement come and violate these individuals who are not following the law? All these cars that are in the parking lot playing their music.
Law enforcement does go after the noise not related to race events.
But I didn't have a chance to go out and tour, so I would like to ask the applicant some questions to get a better understanding of the operation. What days does Speed World have paid events open to the general public as opposed to days when only employees of the Speed World show up or race car drivers who practice there show up?
My name is Osvaldo Moya. I'm the president of RBSJR. When I purchased the facility and purchased the assets from Mr. Weisinger, they used to race Wednesdays and Fridays, test and tune they would open the gates at 6 p.m. and usually be done between 11 to 11:30. Saturday nights they had bracket racing and most events, and race every other Sunday, or I would say a couple Sundays a month, depending on the events. Obviously, our calendar years through May and August, we relate on weather, which we probably run maybe 3 times a month if we're lucky, because it seems like it rains every afternoon. I'm sure everybody who lives in Orange County knows that.
Okay, what is the purpose of the new rectangular paved area south of the oval track? Is it just for drift race cars to practice?
Originally, it was installed for, there's an event called Formula Drift that comes in March. We brought them in. It's a big economical impact to the community. They're based out of California. We put it in to be able to park the rig so the racers can park, and then they race inside the oval track. That's the original why it was constructed. It's basically called the pit area.
Okay, do you hold other events there?
Well, we have stock car racing. We have other drift events, yes, and stuff like that. Basically, everything motorized. I don't do anything that has nothing to do with motors.
I mean on the paved area.
We do, like I said, we let them practice
Oh, so
stuff.
that you are referring to that area. Okay. 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then Tuesdays and Thursdays, seasonal, occasional events. Is this correct?
Just to clarify that, Mr. Ted, my lawyer...
That was on your cover letter to the BCA.
Well, again, let me explain myself,
Okay.
please, ma'am. Mr. Ted, I'm sorry, I don't know his last name. He asked us for basically, what are your average hours? And it wasn't something that I didn't know was going to be used against me as far as the board. Or I would have been more, I guess, I don't know the word to use, I guess more broad instead of being so specific, because that's usually our average hours where we try to be done by. Like I said, it wasn't something that I didn't know I was going to be held to. If not, I would have been more, a little bit more detailed. Again, I thought it was just nothing that was going to be part of my application.
Okay, so the hours that were in the cover letter to BZA are more broad than what you normally do?
Absolutely, yes. Like I said, like the ones you just asked, just like
Okay.
some of my other racetracks have.
Okay, so the BZA...
And I would have been more broad, I'm sorry.
Okay, so the BZA, in their decision, offered Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11:30 p.m., Friday, 5 p.m. to 12 a.m., Saturday, 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., Sunday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. These hours are actually more generous than the broad hours that you just stated, which are more generous than the specific hours that you're stating. I know you said that before this, your representative here said that you were doing whatever possible to keep your races at reasonable times. Are you going to continue doing that?
Not only that, I have no problem showing you a report of when we're done every night. Again, when we shut down. Now, there's people leaving and exiting the property, but I have no problem showing you up to what time we run. I'll keep a log of the actual, it's a computer system that logs every run. I'll make sure the last car that goes on the track, I'll keep a file for you to have. So I can prove the time we finish, ma'am, if that pleases you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we would hope that he would honor that because, at the next board meeting, this will be heard. If there are other people who continue to come forward with complaint, it won't bode favorable for you in most regards. So, we would just ask that you, during this interim period of time, that you've heard some of the neighbors and what they've said here today. Take that into consideration when you formulate your hours of operation. Commissioner Bonilla?
I guarantee you, Mr. Mayor, no one's going to run till 1 in the morning. I give you my word.
All right. Commissioner Bonilla, is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to continue this until November 14 at 2 p.m.
December 14th.
December.
December? Yes. No, I said the next meeting, November. So I didn't mean December, I meant November.
No,
Wait, 9 and 16?
So
Oh, so
November-
November 9.
November 16th is when we have the Eastwood item, so that's...
When's the next meeting? November 9.
Oh, you want to that's enough time?
Yeah, that's fine,
Okay.
yeah.
That
Okay.
works? November 9th?
November the 9th?
November 9, 2 p.m.
Okay.
Second.
All right. November the 9th? Okay.
Second,
2
Sipilin.
p.m. We have a motion by Commissioner Bonilla, second by Commissioner Sipilin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Right, the motion passes and it is unanimous. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Mr.
for your
Mayor. Thank you,
presence today,
Commissioners.
all of you that came. We'll see where this turns out on the 9th.